Hi, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Nico and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with blonde hair, large blue and brown spectacles, and a black headset. I'm seated in front of a purple background and some bookcases. I'm wearing a white and blue checkered shirt. And much like 25% of the global population, I'm disabled. Popular conceptions of disability might seem sad or tragic, or disability would always seem like the ultimate end of everything good. But I don't know, guys. I've been disabled a while, and there's also disabled joy. There's also other disabled emotions. The disability community has as many members, rather, as we have opinions, which is why I've asked my friend Catherine Lewis here today to chat with us about disabled joy. Catherine, thank you for being here.
Hi, Nico. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Catherine Lewis. I go by Katie. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a white woman with long dark hair and rectangle glasses. And I'm wearing a white t-shirt, and I'm sitting in my living room where there are some picture frames behind me.
Excellent. Thank you. Katie, can you tell me about a joyful moment in your life? Like, what is your disabled joy?
There are so many. I think that it's we have this tendency to attach some extra meaning to joy as disabled people, as if it's like a reclamation. And so for me, so many times I don't think about my joyful moments as being attached to my disability, because being disabled is part of who I am. It's not something that when I'm happy, I'm like, oh, this is disabled joy. This is just joy. It's just being a human being. And so it's hard for me sometimes to connect those two things. So I was really excited to have this conversation today because it made me think about the way that others view joy for us as disabled people. And when we begin attaching identities to those emotions that so many others just describe as part of life, it becomes so much more meaningful. Unlike many in the disabled community, I was not born disabled. I had my disability acquired later in life, well into adulthood. And for me, so much of my disabled joy is just living my everyday life. I know that's such an oversimplistic answer, but being able to live as I am, who I am, being able to proudly say that I am a disabled person, is something that so many before us didn't have. And I'm so grateful for the conversation that is beginning, that we are starting to change that narrative around disabled identity and whether or not it should or can be something that's shared. So literally just being able to be here today and say, I am a disabled person living my life, just like everybody else in the world, is such a profound experience.
Forgive me, I was muted. Thank you, Katie. I love that answer. It was really well done. And it kind of feeds into my second question, which is how has being disabled affected your quality of life?
That's such a layered question
Yeah,
because
I know.
for so many of us, quality of life is really complicated, being disabled. And when I get asked these kinds of questions, I talk about the work that I do as an accessibility consultant and talking with people, with businesses, with organizations, with human beings about what so many of us in the disability communities talk about is that our disability, our diagnoses are not what are disabling, or our diagnoses are not what are inaccessible. It's the world around us. It's the world that is not designed for us. And so I don't think for me, it's possible to have a conversation about quality of life without bringing that into the conversation. Here's what I mean by that. my quality of life with my diagnosis is complicated. So many of us, just like everyone, our quality of life is varied. It's more complicated for us because many of us don't have access to the things that would make our quality of life so much better and so much easier. And that's due to inaccessibility. So it's a two-part answer for me. On the everyday, I would say my quality of life is pretty great. I have figured out how to maneuver in the world despite the inaccessibility of the world around me. And at the same time, it lessens my quality of life because navigating those things is so complicated for me. So in a perfect world, I would be able to say, oh, my life is so great. Even with, my good days, my bad days, my flares and things like that. But for me, it's great because I have figured out a way to maneuver in the world, and also really unfortunate because I'm constantly having to try to figure out a way to maneuver in a world that's inaccessible.
I think that answer was very comprehensive. Thank you. I love how you mentioned accessibility and lack of accessibility being more disabling than our actual diagnoses. I've found that as well. Katie, what do you want the general public to know about disabled life or the disabled experience?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think what I would love for people to know is that disability is, number one, an identity, just like so many other identities that are out there. We are a group of people who are not a monolith. The disability experience is so varied, just like the people in the community. And at the same time, it's part of our lives. It doesn't make our life better or worse. It just is what it is. And I know I use that term, so it's funny to me because I grew up with my mom saying that it is what it is. And I always was so frustrated when my mom would say that. But now, having lived this experience and becoming part of this amazing community of people who have opened my eyes and helped me to understand so much more about myself and so much more about how to connect with other human beings, that it's okay to acknowledge someone's disability. And at the same time, it's not who we are. So it's not always simple. We're all kind of navigating this world together. We're all doing our best. So, reach out, have a conversation with someone, ask questions. That's how we grow. That's how we become part of, the change. That's how we make the world better for our community.
I'm someone who really believes in the power of community support and community collaboration and healing. So I really love that answer. Thank you so much, Katie. I've really enjoyed our conversation today. And now we come to the last question that I always ask everyone, which is, do you have a recent win that you're celebrating? Or even if not, where can people find you online in case they want to follow up with you, follow your journey?
Oh yeah, this is great. I recently had a fantastic win. We had a big move across the world. We moved from Hawaii back to the mainland of the US, and travel is really difficult for me. And it went pretty well, which was great. I had a really good travel experience, which doesn't always happen for us. So I consider it a really great win. I got to see some amazing places. And it was not only a joyful process for me, but also a really enriching learning opportunity for me, kind of navigating that experience with my disability. So I consider that a huge win. If you want to learn about me, my journey, what I do to help make the world more accessible, you can find me on Instagram at Access Reimagined. That's my handle. That's also my website, www.accessreimagined.com. Or if you like to just get to know me in a non-professional setting, I'm a member of the Diversibility Facebook group. I'm on their staff as the head of content. We're always in there having conversations, getting to know one another. I always love to get to know not only other disabled human beings, but also our allies. So Looking forward to getting to know more of you and sharing more about our own experiences and our joy.
Katie, thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for this interview. I feel like really positive and energetic now, and I think that's because of this conversation. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Nico, for having me. It was a real pleasure.
Of course. Take care, everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye.